Are you planning on planting a tree, or specifically a fruit tree? Do you realize not all trees grow well together? One group specifically can kill your trees. So before planting or planning to plant, make sure you haven't planted. I have a whole row of these killer trees. There's one, here's another one, and their effect can be seen, and it started to be seen many years before. So that here's one tree that's definitely dead. There was another one over here that the stump is even removed. And then, hey, you get trees that aren't affected. Hey, that's fine, that's fine. Then as we go on, this one is not dead actually. Weakened but not dead. That one, dead. This one, dead. This one, weakened. And then, oh, here's another one, dead. And then it's not as bad. So you see that, yes, these trees, the killer trees, it's walnuts. You may have walnuts. Not everything is affected. Let me give you the story how years ago I saw this in Bill Mollison's book, how walnuts can affect especially apple trees. And I thought, maybe for some places, maybe for some people, maybe in some soils. But I said, you know what? Our trees aren't stressed, so the effect isn't seen. And it went on for about 10 years. I thought, nope, that happens for others, it doesn't happen for me. 10 years. What was the difference? I thought it was stress, but you know what? From 1 year to the next, there wasn't suddenly more stress. All our trees get irrigation. All of them get water. The soil is very good for those trees. And I just thought, you know what? No, it doesn't happen. But 1 year to the next, the walnut trees began to produce a lot of nuts. And then things changed. In nature, this is natural. It's replanted. But the general rule of nature is that trees grow well together. One tree benefits the other tree, benefits that tree, benefits the shrub and the perennials and the mushrooms. All of that is meant to work together. Dr. Suzanne Simard came up with a fantastic studies years ago in her book, Mother Trees. She really showed that in nature, the general rule is this tree benefits this tree. That's an apple, that's a plum. Two different species. But they quickly exchange nutrients. They actually can feed each other. Think, wait a minute, that's different species. It's not the same tree. But she showed that between conifers and deciduous trees, there was actually seasonal changes. In the spring, the conifers fed the deciduous trees. In the summer, the deciduous trees fed the conifers. Can you imagine trees of different species cooperating and working together? That's nature's general rule. There is cooperation rather than competition. But walnuts are like everything in nature, there are exceptions. Walnuts are the exception to the rule. Nut producing, mature walnut tree. Yes, once they reach maturity, the effect can start to be seen. And here's one. No, that's a post. Here's one. Died some years ago. And yeah, it'll kill them. It will affect in a radius, and that radius will grow as the tree grows. It's just started to kill other trees, but that will continue. If I leave it, I'm actually going to cut this one down. You say, but that's just observation. It's not proven. Let me give you a parenthesis about the research. It's been all over the place. Research on walnut, or especially on Juglans effect, has been really just inconclusive because some studies show this, some studies show there is, some studies show there isn't an effect. They've done almost all of them in a lab. You know what? A lab is not the reality. A lab is trying to take one effect and validate it. But you know what? In nature, it's not as simple as, oh, this tree produces juglone that is in the husks, that's in the bark, that's in the leaves, that's in the branches. It's more complex than that. There is microorganisms, and they're starting to find that there's a lot of pseudomonas that live around the roots of walnuts with the juglone, and that one can be the one that's causing effect. Overall, they don't know for sure how come it's causing the effect. I don't either, but you know what? I can see with my eyes, and I'm seeing the progression and I'm seeing the change after saying that there isn't an effect. So you know what? There is an effect. Let me give you, if you're a researcher and you say, yeah, you know what, how can you study this effect? Take two groups, immature walnuts, take mature, really nut-producing walnuts. So there's two treatments. And then plant a series of plants, those that are known or observed to be negatively affected and those that are not affected. Plant them at different distances from the tree, do several replicates, and go for at least 3 years and see which plants, when planted, thrive or survive well, and which plants are negatively affected, to validate the observed cases. Because there is lists that people have put out that, you know what, with this plant it kills. I can tell you that now, apple for sure, and actually plum trees also are affected negatively. Most pears don't seem to be as negatively affected, and some actually thrive, like pawpaw. I have one pawpaw tree down here, and that one would actually grow right here underneath the walnut and thrive. So that's why I've replanted one area with a whole bunch of pawpaw seedlings, because you can actually create a bit of a barrier from the further trees to the walnut by interplanting species that are known to be not just tolerant, but that actually thrive near the walnut tree. So research is great to start with observation. Yes, needs to be validated, but I would say please don't completely disregard observation, because a lot of great discoveries happen first of all by observation. Realize that the effect by walnuts is the effect by juglone, or maybe it's hydrojuglone, we're not sure. But that's an allelopathic effect. Fancy word to say death from others. It's a death caused by that tree to others. In this case, apple tree, not totally dead yet, but certainly well on its way. And that susceptibility is a scale. Just like disease resistance, it's a scale from totally resistant to not resistant at all. Apples are some of the least resistant, while others have a lot more resistance. Work with that. Try to plan to use the ones that are absolutely resistant, and even maybe we'd say they could thrive under them. And pawpaw is one example shown by others that it works really well. And it makes sense because black walnut and pawpaw have really co-evolved, grown together for millennia. And so, you know what? That's a pretty good place to grow for a pawpaw. Get some shade from the walnut, and you know what? The walnut will remove a lot of competition even to the pawpaw. So nature works that way that, you know what? Some benefit and some don't. But just know that there is a scale involved. It's not all bad. Black walnut's the most juglone producing. And then at the other end of the spectrum, it may be English walnut, which has some effect, but maybe not enough to actually kill some of the other trees. I wish we had a very definitive proof of How much of an effect on what cultivars? We don't. It's still very observational, and you can look up, I'll put in the description, the list of plants that are not affected and the list of plants that are affected. If you want to plant something of the list that is considered to be affected, just think twice. I have left my walnut trees for years just so that you could learn that, you know what, don't do what I did and plant those trees. I'm doing it for you. Benefit from it, learn from others, and learn from the comments. If you have a tree species or a plant species that isn't on the list and you go, yeah, this is really affected, make sure it's for a mature walnut, add it to the comments. Let's get the discussion going to be a better learning experience for all.